Hello everybody, this is the Wikstrand. So, when it comes to spaghetti westerns that are not directed by Sergio Leone and is not starring Clint Eastwood, they usually fall under, one or two categories. They either fall in the not very good movies that can sometimes be quite bad, or they can sometimes be good or even quite awesome. Like a few Sartana is coming and a few select others. But I think I've now found one of my absolute favorites beside those ones. And that's the movie that we're gonna take a look at today. And I think that a large portion of why this movie works so well is the fact that the main character, Sabata, is played by Lee Van Cleef, a pitch perfect casting, if I may say so myself. But why is this movie so good? And what is it about? That's what we're gonna find out today. This is my review of Sabata. Begins like lots of spaghetti westerns begin with a bank robbery, and together with some acrobats, some robbers makes away with 100,000 of the army's money. But there's a stranger that has come into town that tracks down the evil doers and make them evil don'ters. That is of course Sabata, and he kills them and brings back the gold. He could have just, keep riding away once he has, taken the loot, but he, gives it back to the army and is given a big reward for it. And he, makes friends with this loudmouth war veteran who is always bitter, because the war only gave him this medal that isn't worth anything. And Alley Cat, which is probably one of the first true parkour performers in a spaghetti western. So it has that going on for itself, but the robbery is just the beginning, because Sabata believes that some people has orchestrated this, and he finds out that is, the top brass of this town. Among them, the judge, and one of my favorite things about this movie, a very unusual villain, an aristocratic, intellectual guy who kind of reminds me a little bit about Christopher Walken, even if Christopher Walken, of course, would have been better if he would have been casted as the main villain for this one, but he was probably too young at that point. I don't know, but anyway, he has a strong Christopher Walken-esque, feel to him, and he starts, to blackmail them and says that, well, you better pay me, money, otherwise I'm going to tell everybody that you orchestrated this robbery, and then, the army is going to go after you. Also, I like the fact that our villain is, not a classical land grabber asshole who, would have been the case. I mean, he still wants to buy land because he wants, make money of it when the railroad is going to be drawn here in a few years. But that is sort of beside the point. The thing is that they are not really happy about the fact that Sabata is blackmailing them, so they're going to try to kill him and silence him. So that is essentially what this movie is. It's an ever-growing showdown between Sabata and the top brass of this town. And there is a lot of stuff that is going to happen before this thing is over. I love the fact that Sabata is not your clean-cut, pretty-looking hero. He is an anti-hero of the purest sort. He's sort of kind of a similar type of a character to what he played in For a Few Dollars More. But of course, this is not a movie that is as good as that movie, but very few movies are. I also like the fact that while he's not, this clean-cut, blue-eyed baby face, he is a kind person who likes to do what is good and what is right, and he has a moral compass. But on the other hand, he is ruthless and will not, give quarter to anybody. This is a very fun and very entertaining movie with an excellent pace, an excellent soundtrack, very colorful villains, very colorful characters, side characters, great action sequences. They even have such a great gallery of characters that they can afford to throw in an extra villain when half of the movie has gone by. They introduce him and then he's immediately killed by Sabata. Hello, bye bye, and that's essentially it. So That was a fun thing. Now, it might be a bit too one-sided of a story. You never feel that Sabata is in any, jeopardy whatsoever. He just goes around and is able to prove how much of a badass he is and how unstoppable he is and how ineffectual the villains and their goons are. But that is a fun thing to experience. Now, if you've never seen this movie and you like spaghetti westerns, you're going to absolutely love this movie. Now, as of this recording, I still haven't seen the 2 sequels. I don't think they are as good as this one, but I might be wrong in that case. But I also love the fact of this movie that there is an unpredictability here. You don't quite know where we're going because only Sabata knows where we're going and only Sabata knows what it's going to do to everybody before this movie is over. Speaking of that, I wish that this movie could have had a slightly better ending, but maybe it was the logical ending after all. Because there is a wild card in this movie that I like, that he existed. It is this banjo playing guy, a smug looking prick with a banjo who walks around and always sort of begs for gigs, but banjo players are not in short supply in this town, and you don't quite know where he's going. Is he an opportunist? Is he going to help Sabata? Is he going to betray Sabata? Is he going to backstage Sabata? Is he just this goof that enjoys watching and looking for a moment to make a quick buck? Or does he have some kind of an evil backstory that we don't know? Or is he just some guy that will eventually prove to be the biggest hero of the entire movie? That's what we're gonna find out in this movie. Sabata may be an archetypical spaghetti western, but when it is as good as this movie is, you don't really mind that, it is a bunch of cliches and the story might not make that much sense sometimes. It's just such a fun experience to see it. And as I said, Lee Van Cleef was a pitch perfect casting for this movie. And the pace is just so great. We are just whooshing through this one. 111 minutes just whooshes away. And even people who, might not like spaghetti westerns might actually say that, hey, I kind of like this one. And, people who hate westerns will probably just hate this one too. So it's not going to sway anybody. But as I said, this is one of my favorite spaghetti westerns, not directed by Sergio Leone. Sometimes some sequences just don't work, and sometimes you feel, well, why did this happen? Why did that happen? And why did it do that? And as I said, the ending was a little bit, I could have done something better with that. But except for that, almost everything else is absolutely golden. I give Sabata 81 points. If you've never seen this movie, see this movie. Have you, by the way, seen the sequels? Comment below and I'll see you next time for, well, so-and-so reviewing, well, such and such. Thank you for watching. Thank you very much.